What started as a misunderstanding between a farmer and a herder has triggered a humanitarian crisis for about 70 to 80 communities on the plateau. Plateau State is struggling to hold on to its name as the home of peace and tourism. Located in the northwestern part of Nigeria, it is hard to ignore the ironic situation that has lingered for about 2 decades. Living the grasslands, mountains, and much talked about weather to make up for the grief, loss, and scanty rural communities in Plateau State. Since late 2001, when the first major riot in more than 3 decades broke out in Jos, to 2010, at least 4,000 persons have been killed in the protracted communal clash, leaving thousands displaced. From Jos, the state capital, to Yelwa, Pangshin, Jos South, Barkin-Ladi to Mangu local government area, casualties have been recorded on the part of the indigents and the settlers. From 2019 to 2021, the state recorded about 177 deaths. In 2023, at least 343 persons were killed within 3 months in 8 local government areas of the state.
The present situation we're having on ground started on the 14th of April 2023 when a Fulani boy killed a local in his farm, and that degenerated to the issue of burning down Murish, Jwakme, Tumbi, and Campus. So after some while, it stopped and the security took over the situation. Unknown to us, that there was another plan again from some Fulani groups from Barkin-Ladi who came to attack our villages on the 15th of May 2023. Since then, that is what we are still facing up till today.
There seems to be relative peace on the plateau following a 3-month clash between neighboring communities in Mangu, Barkin-Ladi, and Birom local government areas. This is one of the largest camps for displaced persons in Mangu local government area of the state. We are greeted by expectant eyes. For the displaced, a vehicle filled with new faces could mean the next meal for the day. Men, women, and children stand and sit in circles, discussing and waiting for news about their loved ones, treasured farmlands, and communities under siege and imminent security threats. A moment away from the sullen faces, we couldn't ignore the tackling giggles and cheers from the pitch. Others not on the pitch keep themselves busy with whatever they can find. Their puzzled looks hidden behind innocent smiles, they all want to be seen and heard, having been running and hiding for days from the wrath of militia men in the plateau.
In this same camp, I've shed tears on and on and on, because the vulnerable people you are seeing, they have no leader that will take care of them. In fact, my pain is all about the young children, the small children that have been put out of school. Since May, they have not returned back to their various primary schools, secondary schools. I will tell you painfully that the whole local government did not start for WAEC because of the crisis, and there is nobody that is a voice to them that they will even come here to conduct the exam for them. So I'm really pained because my people in their own hometown, they are in IDP camps, and the IDP camp is not a camp that you will talk about. It's an ordinary primary school. Unlike you go to Maiduguri, you see where IDP camps is, you know that there is federal government presence there. But our own here, since it started, nobody have done anything good that we will say, yes, they have given support to the people. Not at all.
The Hydra-headed crisis has however left families mourning brothers, children, wives and husbands. It has also caused many to flee Jos City. For the governor, who incidentally was a former chairman of Mangu local government area, one of the most affected areas in the state, the pain of loss is close to his heart.
First, we've had to mobilize and re-energize the conventional security outfits on ground, meaning the Special Task Force of the Nigerian Army, the Nigeria Police, the Nigerian Civil Defense Corps, and all the paramilitary organizations. Before we came on board, the morale amongst those security agencies was quite low, and we've had to reinvigorate their morale so that they can go about their duties more efficiently. Secondly, we've also tried to ensure dialogue amongst communities so that they can be able to understand some of the differences that have caused these crises to come on, so that we can foster better understanding. So while we're dealing with the kinetic options, we're also looking at the non-kinetic options, which essentially is community-based. We'll be engaging stakeholders across the board, calling on well-meaning individuals and leaders in society to rise to the occasion and to be able to speak into the issues so that we can have a platform of common understanding. These are some of the things we have done. It's painful. You just have to put up a brave face, but it's heart-wrenching and quite demoralizing. Some of whom I may not know directly, but I know people related to them. And you cannot but shed tears from time to time. But then you have to brave it up and know that you must find solutions. So you wake up every day cracking your brain. What can we do better than yesterday?
Back at the camp, the young may have escaped physical scars, but for the old, the bullet marks and feeling of loss of a loved one and all they once called theirs remain evident. Among those gruesomely murdered are husbands and brothers to these women. 24-year-old Gloria Jedediah holds onto a giggling baby who has no idea his father is dead and buried among the hundreds killed. The last thing she heard about her husband is that he was shot and macheted while he was trying to escape the bullets and blades of militiamen. She tells me she has only finished secondary school and been married for about a year.
Help us with foodstuff. Before now, he used to bring variety of foodstuff, rice and others, but now nothing to eat. See this child, I don't know what to do with him. It's not been easy for us. Please help us. We have little children and I am also a young mother. Please help us. We are not finding it easy.
When I asked if she had a picture of her husband, she didn't have any. She wishes to go back to school but has to depend on an overburdened sister-in-law who goes to Facebook to download an old picture of Gloria's husband. Her husband provided everything for her and the baby. Now that he is gone, she is confused, unsure of what the future holds.
Her husband is my younger brother. We lost him. And my sister-in-law too, we lost her. Indeed, and even now, The things is too much on us. Even now, today, my mother, they are 2 weeks now in the hospital in Asokoro. They did operation for her. She stayed on oxygen for 6 days. And they did operation twice. The first one, it was 170,000 before they carry her into theater, until we provide 50,000 before they carry her into theater. The second operation on her is another money, and now it's almost 400,000. And all these things, we went and borrow. Now we cannot see where we'll get the money to pay. And even now, we don't know if they discharge or the bill that they will give us before we go home. We don't know where we'll get it. But please, we are begging the government to help us. Indeed, this thing, we have everything. We have everything before. This headmen, they come and burn them.
Every day, she and other widows gather at the various IDP camps, waiting for the next meal, funds, or whatever help they can get from compassionate individuals.
We were seated in our house when the militiamen came in the evening. We ran, but they met my husband inside the house. They killed him. He has left me with 7 children. 2 are married, 3 are female, while 4 are male. There is no one to pay the children's school fees now. Our grains have been destroyed. We don't have food and we don't know what to do now. We are displaced. We don't have a place to sleep or where to go. Our rent is usually 25,000 naira, but we don't know where to get the rent now. We don't know what to do. We bought 10 bags of fertilizers. The attackers burnt them. We can't go to our farms anymore. We are calling on you to help us. My husband was running when they shot him and killed him.
With difficulty, Janet draws up a smile. She didn't get to see her husband's body or give him a proper burial.
They didn't allow me see him because we ran. It has been difficult since his death, living with 5 children. We have problems with farming and schooling. The children have stopped going to school even though they want to because there is no money. They should help me with children's school fees and farming. I've been paying rent of 40,000 naira since my husband's death. Please help us build shelters and provide school fees for our children.
Janet's children are part of the more than 8,000 out-of-school children across the camps.
People reside in their relative houses, but in this camp presently, we have about 2,091 people residing in this camp.
How many communities would you say were affected by this incident?
We have 54 communities that are affected, that have been razed down, burned down completely. The people that escaped, they only escaped with the clothing you see on their body. We thank God because some people brought some clothing, that's why you see them changing clothing. But before, if you come to this camp, you will imagine whether it's human beings.
So what's the situation you have at your hands?
The situation is still bad because of the population that is affected. We have almost 50,000 people that have been chased out of their source of livelihood, their house, their farmlands have been destroyed, so they have nowhere to go. Even those that are staying in their relative houses, they are sleeping on bare floor because they don't have anything to use.
And what goes through your mind when you see these women and children, just...
It's so terrible. It's so terrible. I hardly sleep.
The Pilot Science Primary School in the heart of Mangu serves as a refuge to women and children, but it's hard for them to sleep comfortably here.
We really appreciate people that have been bringing donation because we've been sustaining these camps through donation from people. If not, we don't have anything to feed this number of people because we cook for them. Sometimes if the food is available, we cook twice, but most at time is once, and sometimes it's none at all. If not for church organization, individuals, and corporate organization, non-governmental organization, things could have been worse. Things could have been seriously worse.
So none from the government? You've not gotten any substantial help?
Apart from the one we've gotten from NEMA.
Okay.
NEMA has brought in their support, which really go a long way too. But it couldn't meet the needs of the people because there was nothing to cook yesterday. So the children were seriously crying. There was nothing to cook. We provided gari for them, but there was no sugar, but it's better than none. That was what we were able to afford yesterday. Today, we are struggling to get firewood.
Life is hard for a lot of them.
If these people don't go back in time to their farms, the problem will linger for years because these people are predominantly farmers and their farms are being destroyed daily and they have lost everything they have. So if they don't go back now to farm and the farming season is almost getting over, we don't know what will really happen. There will be serious crisis because hunger too is another serious war. So, and we don't have the capacity to sustain this camp. You can see the number of people here. For you to keep on sustaining them for 1-2 years, even now that it's just 2 months, sometimes they go 2-3 days without food. So if this thing will linger to 2-3 years, what are we going to do? So the government should seriously help with security and station them in those villages so that our people can be able to go back and salvage the remaining things that they can salvage. That will seriously help us and it will reduce the trauma and the problems in the camp.
Nursing mothers have little or no care from health facilities. Just one public health facility is open. Others are closed. At the facility that is open, operations are skeletal because the facility is being renovated. Nursing mothers and their babies inhale the odor from the freshly painted walls. On the makeshift arrangement, health workers attend to patients, even though there are no bed spaces to admit inpatients.
To access private hospitals is a very difficult challenge for somebody that just escaped with the clots in his body. And these are farmers in the village, not that they have money in the bank or anything. So if you go to the hospital now, even to get cut, it's another thing.
So there is no public health facility?
The public health facilities has been on strike. And we still thank the government of Plateau State too. They're sending some drugs to these health facilities. That has really assisted us a lot in their treatment. Because before they send those drugs, the bill that was on us was over 10 million as debts that people have incurred from treatment. So we thank God because the state government sent in some drugs to the private hospitals, and that has really helped. It has brought down the bill drastically, and we really appreciate the governor for the intervention.
As the night falls, the women, their husbands, and children disperse to retain rented rooms in less plagued communities for those that can't afford rent or a family space to stay. The dark skies are covering. The only lights you see are just your vehicles. We're still in the pilot primary school where we have one of the 25 IDP camps in Mangu, local government area of Plateau State, and it's pitch black. From what the locals have told me, they say that sometimes they hear gunshots at night. For those who are courageous, we can still stay in this structure. It's very courageous for a lot of them because they have very minimal security around. And I hear that the sleeping conditions is really terrible. So let's just show you one of them. Sanu? Yeah. So how do you guys sleep at night?
Okay, come and see, let us sleep in the night.
How many people stay here?
No, 15 people.
15.
15 people. Women and children.
And you've been sleeping this way for how many months now?
Now 2 months.
For 2 months now?
Yes.
So where did you get all of this load from?
Not for these people.
So are the ceilings leaking?
Yes.
The ceiling is leaking?
Yes.
So whenever it rains, right?
This is leaking.
So then you will have to sleep on there like this.
So how
You don't
do
have
I do?
mattress?
No, no mattress.
No mattress, no bed covers,
Yes.
no cardigan.
Yes.
And it's really chilly. It's cold. Don't you guys feel cold at night?
Eh?
Don't you feel cold at night?
Oh, they plenty. Say another one.
Wow. Whenever it rains, what happens? Let me tell her.
Ina yin ruwa mai ke faruwa.
Yi ruwa muna jin sanyi sosai don wurin yana saukar ruwa. Kuma muna jin sanyi ba burgo ba mattress.
When they rain, they suffer cold because the roof is leaking. They don't have blanket. They have nothing to cover themselves with. So this is how they lie down.
So from the writings on the wall, the last time a class was held here is on the 29th of March, 2023. So since that time, no form of education, right?
Yes.
No school?
No school.
No school here?
Yes.
Wow. So this is where the men stay. Oops. They sleep in enclosed spaces with little ventilation and protection for the night.
To shi kenan, naji. A ina ne aka kashe shi? A ɗakin shi ko? Su waye kenan? To naji. To na gode. Thank you very much. It's unfortunate. I've just received a call that about 30 minutes ago, one of my younger brother was killed in his house.
Killed?
Yeah,
Where?
in Barikin Ladi.
Just a local government away from here.
Barikin Ladi local government. A local government before Mangu. So that about 3 young men came to his house with gun and they shot him.
With our hearts in our mouths, we left the grieving families will have a moment of rest. away from the chaos outside. While some have resigned to fate, others hold on to the idea of a better next day.